without wasting time, I would introduce today's speaker. That is Debojit Sen. He's a co-founder of Crack.ed. Debojit has got an extensive experience. Please interrupt me, Debojit, if I say something incorrect about you. So Debojit started his career with, I think, Hindustan Times in sales operations, and then he worked extensively with Car Dekho, again sales and marketing, and thereafter he has started off this own venture of Crack.ed, which is a very unique startup, because I think it's about skilling up people, the practical basically skills that needs to be acquired by one to be survive in a corporate sector, and what the job requirements are. When we talk about skills are which are actually used in job. Am I correct, Debojit?
Absolutely, bang on, Ron.
Okay. And he's a sales and marketing guy. We have a lot to learn from him because of his experience. He's got a good experience of around 15 years in sales and marketing. So we can get some good tips, how we can market ourselves, because we are looking into transitioning from, defense forces to corporate sector. So over to you, Debojit. The forum is yours. You can start, please.
Thank you so much, Rohan. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm super excited to have this discussion, this conversation with all of you. Rohan has given me very difficult topics to cover, but I'll keep it very, very practical and as informative as possible, so that you go back from the discussion session today with something valuable that you can use when you get into the corporate world. But before I start discussing anything, in fact, I'll take you through my life journey also. Rohan did cover it in brief. The name of the brand is pronounced as Cracked. It's an expression of happiness. It's an expression of joy. It's an expression of achieving something. And I think that's the only small correction, Rohan, in what you mentioned. Everything else was bang on. I would first want to ask you one or two questions in order to help me understand whom I'm talking to, and then maybe I open the house for me discussing on what I wanted to share with all of you. The question is very simple. If you can just explain me in 2 lines, 2 things that I wanted to know from you, and maybe we will not have time for everyone to do this, but maybe 8 to 10 people, if they start with, will be interesting. The first question is, what has been your background till now, in very brief, if you can explain it in 2 lines. Second is, what is your biggest fear? What are you scared of the most? I'm not talking about only professional, I'm talking about personal also. You can pick up whatever you want to share, but just these 2 questions in maybe 20-25 seconds per head. Please go ahead, anyone. Yeah, Meenakshi, happy to start.
Yeah, hi. So I am Lieutenant Meenakshi. Coming to your first question, I come from a technical background, basically B computers, and my job profile in Army had been managing the terrestrial communication, satellite communication, as well as radio communication and cyber security. So that is the first question that you had asked and I answered. And the second part is, the biggest fear is fear of unknown, as we say. Because we do understand that there are many commonalities also out there in the corporate sector, but yes, there are a lot of things which we generally assume might be similar to us but are not in real sense. So trying to balance it out, I mean, our skills, our understanding of technology vis-a-vis what it is there outside or what is expected outside, that's the biggest fear. Thanks.
Thanks, Meenakshi, for sharing and going first. It always takes courage to do that anyway. But I will also cover some of the points you asked for. Let's hear it from Sanjay.
Yes, Sanjay. Debojit. I am Lieutenant Sanjay. I have spent almost 40 years in Army.
Wow.
And I don't know anything about outside. That is my fear. And within these 40 years, through and through, I have worked in an administrative channel only. That is my plus point, or maybe minus point.
40 years is a
That's-
lifetime.
Yes.
Great to hear that. Hopefully, by the end of my session, you'll have some little idea, maybe a point further than where you are. But thanks for sharing transparently, Sanjay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Smita.
Yes, I'm Major Smita, and I have completed 13 years of service and 14 years going on. I'm in Ordnance Corps, so my major work had been in supply chain management and in project management. So that was the first question, and my biggest fear, that was the second question, is still that I'm not able to convert and put my words, what I have done, into civil terminology. I'm still not able to do it.
Okay, so do you want to have maybe a stronger, a more impactful elevator pitch about yourself when you're explaining yourself to others?
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Smita. Let's try and cover that also maybe. We can take maybe one or two more. Prateek.
Hi, I am Lieutenant Colonel Prateek from the Corps of Engineers. I have put in 14 years of service. In these 14 years, I have handled I've handled all administration, operations, as well as people management. So that's my brief. My biggest fear is the fear of failing. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks.
Have you failed in your life till now, Prateek, as per your definition?
Oh yes, miserably, many times. In fact, I'm just waiting for a result of mine to come. I just appeared for the PMP exam yesterday, so I'm just waiting for that result. So I'm getting more anxious by the minute. So yeah, the fear of failing. Yeah.
What's your benchmark of failure? I mean, what happens so that you count something as a failure?
Something that I had set, my benchmark of failure would be like, for example, if I have set a goal for myself, if I'm not able to achieve it, that's my failure. Not your very typical failure wherein you fail an exam. But yes, if I've set out something for myself, if I've not been able to do it, that's my fear. Yeah.
How well do you know everyone else in the batch, Prateek?
Not. I will be very honest. Not very well with everybody. But yes, I've got a few of my postmates, some of my juniors also over there, and of course made a few friends. So yeah.
Thank you, Prateek, for sharing. Yes, we'll take one last one from Gurmeet Kaur.
Hello, I am Commander Gurmeet, retired. I retired 2 years back, and I was an air traffic control officer in the Indian Navy, served for around 14 years. And the biggest fear, since I have had a sabbatical of around 2 years, and I've just gotten back into this race, I somehow feel a little scared that probably, no, in this race of being good and finding something good, probably we'll lose ourselves someday, because everybody wants to excel, everybody wants to be so competitive that I might be out of place over here, but then that is my biggest fear, that we'll lose ourselves if we keep racing like this.
Who are you, Gurmeet, as per you?
That is a very philosophical question. I don't know. I am finding myself, and I think every day I find a different version of myself while dealing with my 2.5-year-old kid. I think what has been taught to me in last 2.5 years, life has never taught me. So each and every day and each and every hour spent with my daughter, I find a different personality of myself. So that is why once I am coming back to this race, I feel that probably in this rat race, we are going to forget ourselves only one day.
So if you're still figuring out who you are, then what is there to lose anyway?
Yeah, very correctly put.
But okay, fair. We'll maybe talk about it. Thank you for all five of you to share your thoughts, and I would encourage others also to maybe pick up some questions that I'll keep asking during my session. I'll take my session in 3 parts. First, I'll tell you a little bit about my life that will give you context to the learnings that I have had. And I'm not only done sales and marketing, I've also been a business head and a P&L owner, managing large teams of over 1,000 people in organizations. And right now I manage my own company, and I'll talk to you a little bit about that also. That's the first part. The second part, I'm going to talk about, therefore, the learnings that have come out of going through those phases in life. And from those learnings, I'll try to link the skills and the technological advancements that would be necessary for all of you when you get into a corporate life, irrespective of the stage of life you are in, some basic things that will be needed. The last part, I'm going to help you with some theories that has helped me in a big way to survive in the corporate world. And a lot of time during the MBA programs, like you are also doing with IIM Bangalore, we come across theories that sound very, very theoretical in nature. What I'm going to tell you today is derived from my own life, and therefore not a theory, but trying to structure my thoughts into a certain framework on what has worked. I would love it if you stop me and keep asking questions in between. Irrespective, I'll give 15 minutes at the end for questions to be asked. And those can be generic in nature, specific in nature, and I'll be more than happy to answer those questions also. So I'll share my screen and therefore start on the discussions that I wanted to have today. Very important that all of you are aware that whatever I'm going to talk about right now is about you. This is not about your future organization. This is not about your future boss. This is not about someone else's skills. This is not about someone else's learnings. It's something, if you can absorb for you yourself, it's going to help. Also, the most important part that continues to remain for success in the corporate world is your ability to manage people. And there can be a lot of technological advancements that happen. You can go with multiple other skills that will help you do well. But if you can't manage people, then everything else that you're doing goes for a toss. And therefore, I'll talk a little bit about that also. While I'm starting this, you can use the chat box for this answer. In the chat box, I assume you're able to access the chat box. Khushbu also says Happy Air Traffic Controllers Day. Wishing that to everyone. Two questions here. Just write your answers, whatever you feel. What is the one word people define you as when you're not in the room? Now, this is something that people would use for you when you leave the room or when you're not around. What are they talking about you? So are they saying Gurmeet is strict, if that is the truth? Think about it and write down your answer. And second is why is success in a corporate world so important for you? Why is leadership so important for you? Second one is a little subjective in nature. But the first one is very simple. What is the one word that you think people use for you when you're not in the room? I'm giving you 10 seconds to think, but write down your answers on the chat box. I just have one answer as of now from Gurmeet. Okay. It says dope and happy. Fair. Let's have some other answers. Diligent. Vijesh says people call me diligent when I'm not in the room. Very important to know this answer, and that also will define how successful or unsuccessful your corporate life is going to be. Over-ensuring. Vineet says over-ensuring. That's an interesting one. Enthusiastic. That's a good one for people to call you that. Caring. Livewire. Meenakshi. Also the first one to talk today. Over-enthusiastic. So Suraj is enthusiastic and Rajat is over-enthusiastic. Fair. Smita says she's a micromanager. Okay. Manpreet says people think they can discuss anything. That's not one word, but maybe we can find a word for it. Deepti says resolute. Srinivas says friend. Fair. So if you have some idea, it's going to help you when I take the discussion forward. This has been my life mission. Whatever I've done in the little time in the corporate world, as Rohan was rightly mentioning, I've spent close to 13 years now, not 15 actually, in the corporate world, building businesses of various stages. And this is the mantra I have always wanted to live by, which is leadership or any corporate job is the privilege to elevate lives of people you manage. And when I say you manage, I don't only mean people who report into you. I mean people who are around me, who are above me, who are in various positions across. If there are opportunities that I'm able to find where whatever work I'm doing, it's making their life a little better, that is the privilege. I was born in a very small city of Kharagpur, and growing up in the government school, I remember in the first few years there were not even tables and chairs in that school. But the good thing that happened was right from the very beginning, there were very strong values of honesty and being very strong in culture. Things like music, Durga Puja is just around the corner with Navratra coming in. I remember my bicycle, I used to love my Diwali crackers, a lot of literature right from the childhood from people like Rabindranath Tagore and Shakespeare. So it was a dreamy world, although I was growing up in a very, very lower middle class background. But the world that I saw myself growing was made of dreams. It was during childhood only I ventured into the world of debating and public speaking, and I failed multiple times while trying to do that. I think one of you clearly mentioned about failing also. And I think all of us have had multiple superpowers that we have had in our childhood. And I keep speaking that in my sessions also. We can't find out what we are good at when we are, let's say, 40 years old or 50 years old, or for that matter, even 30 years old. What we are good at has always been there embedded in us right from the childhood. And if we can identify that and then venture into careers in the corporate world, or for that matter, careers anywhere, then you start loving what you're doing, and you don't really have to struggle too much in trying to do what you're doing. I think one big reason of Crack being successful is most of the time I'm doing what I love doing. And therefore, work doesn't feel like work. Work feels like joy. It feels like fun. When people around me keep telling me that, oh God, Sunday is so far away, there's a long week coming along, it never happens to me. I'm enjoying every bit of it. In fact, I look forward to work even on a Sunday. So that's how the childhood was defined. Graduation days, I was unfortunately an engineer. Unfortunate because I didn't enjoy the course at all. I think I was made more for an arts degree or a psychology course. But anyways, I did it from Rourkela. This is IIT Rourkela. My only relief those days were cricket matches, my psychology subject that was not there in the curriculum, but I studied. In fact, I tied up with multiple international universities at that time to study about it. My cat coaching. These were days when I went for coaching to a certain institute, and then the teachers left and they wanted to shut down the institute. And then I told them, please don't shut down the institute. I will teach here. Maybe my friends won't learn from me, but the other batches might find it interesting to learn from me. That's where my passion for teaching started coming in, because I had no option but to teach. Otherwise, the institute would have shut down and I would have not been able to take a crack at the examination. And then Mumbai happened. I mean, I went to Mumbai for studying for SP Jain. And for the first time, I was seeing in a single city so much variation. I mean, on one side, I would see fancy restaurants, tall buildings, a lot of people aspiring to achieve so much in their lives. In the same city, on the other side, I'll see so many beggars, a never-ending race of people trying to jump over one another. Of course, the beautiful sea and various, as you can see, the beautiful Taj properties also. But in one city, I could see that the world has, from one spectrum to another spectrum, so much to offer. And it is about what we do with our own lives in building it in the way that we would like to. And that's what Mumbai left with me. Post that, I studied there for 2 years and then moved to Delhi, and I've actually been in Delhi since, from 2010 onwards. I worked for 7 years with Hindustan Times. Great leaders. I learned how business is run, how P&Ls turn profitable, how corporates think, and I'm also going to talk about some skills that I picked up from there. I also learned skills of storytelling here. I realized working with media professionals that eventually what you are presenting to someone else is what they are going to believe in. And if like I think one of you said that I'm not able to express myself and explain what I have done in the best possible way. That is the fundamental skill of storytelling. And if we can actually pick up this particular skill, then every conversation can leave an impact on people when you're talking to people. I learned skills of data analytics. I realized that as per the famous quote that in God I believe, in everything, for everything else I need data. And that's how corporates work. If we are able to prove what we are doing with the help of data, that's where the discussion flies. Otherwise, everything else is an emotion that most people may or may not care about. I learned skills of people management. I think that is something I value the most. I realized that if you can keep people around you respected enough, they are automatically going to pick you above in your career, push you above in your career. Even more than love, in corporate world, what's important is respect. Is there mutual respect for all the work that is happening around you? And that is something that I truly value, that I learned in Hindustan Times. Basic finance and tech skills, all of us require. I think some of you spoke about technological skills. In tech, we don't require much. You should know how to operate MS Office end to end. You should know how to kind of operate on a laptop. You should be able to have certain amount of speed and accuracy when you are dealing with your own apps on your phones. For example, even WhatsApp is very widely used in most large organizations. And that is it. I mean, more than that, everything else you can learn on the way. And these days, there are so many courses available online that it doesn't need too much of preparation in order to become good at tech. AI, of course, is the new thing that has come in. And I think all of you would have used ChatGPT. If you haven't, you should definitely. There are a lot of other AI platforms also that are there. It is just getting a better assistant for yourself. In the past, our grandfathers, our fathers would have imagined assistants to be human beings. These days, assistants is a tech solution. And that's how the entire tech world has also come up. I also got into my first serious relationship when I got into Hindustan Times, and I also realized one very important part of growing up is taking care of your relationships well, learning companionship, learning to take care of someone else, sometimes going beyond yourself. Again, helps a lot in the corporate world. Most of the time, we are trying to chart our own careers in the corporate world. In that when we are in that state of mind, in that sphere, we tend to ignore someone else's career, or sometimes even tend to stampede on someone else's career to make your own. That is what doesn't help you in the long term. And it comes from the fundamental feeling that if you have genuine feelings for everyone around you, it helps. And those genuine feelings shows when in all your interactions and transactions also. From Hindustan Times, I moved into Exceed Education. I think a fantastic stint in order to move across the globe. I'm sure many of you would have also traveled outside India, different cultures, different religions, different regions. I also realized in Exceed Education the power of a mission. I mean, how powerful a purpose can bring in any organization. In the Sun Times, I was not very clear that a purpose can drive a company, but that's something that I picked up when I went into Exceed. Also, my founder from that organization was from Harvard Business School, and therefore I developed a lot of contacts of that time of top universities of the world. Which circle, cylinder, if you want to mute yourself, that would be useful. Or the admin can mute him if there's an admin managing the call. Yeah, so the power of knowledge, the magical layer around top institutions across the country, that is something that I picked up. That eventually brought me to Kardeko. Kardeko is a company based out of Jaipur. It's a unicorn company, and we have multiple business lines, not only cracked that I manage, but business lines like insurance Dekho, Rupee, college Dekho, bike Dekho, power drift, zig wheels, etc. Kardeko was my first business stint. By business stint, I mean that this was the first time I was managing the P&L end to end. Now, one thing is to manage sales and marketing. A very different thing is to manage the entire P&L. What does that mean? It means that suddenly finance is reporting into you, legal is reporting into you, product tech is reporting into you. You suddenly have operations reporting into you. You suddenly have questions like how is the business going to do in the next 5 years, 10 years? How quickly are we going to become profitable? At a unit level, what kind of EBITDA margins are we able to give? At an overall organization level, what kind of profits are we able to get into? So I also realized multiple shades of gray into the Indian business landscape. I realized there is a lot of small businesses that will always keep making the lives of large businesses very tough, because they do work at an abnormally low rates, and that's how they also survive and make a lot of profit. I also realized the kind of taxations that are there in our country, and because of which how difficult it is to move a business to profitability. I had a lot of failures, lot of errors that I did during my stint in Cardeco, but quite a few successes also in how the business did. And thus, eventually, I landed up with Cracked. This is my organization. This Cracked basically deals with early professionals and freshers, and helps them get the right skills in the beginning of their career to succeed in the corporate world. So everything came back to me in Cracked when I eventually managed it, because of the experiences that I had before that. Experiences of experiential learning that I got from Exceed Education. Healthy P&L, that once you start a business is made so that you make profits. And that I learned from Cardeco. Right people choices across Hindustan Times, Exceed and Cardeco. Magical mission. At the end of the day, it's very difficult to keep being happy from the same person all the time, be it your manager, be it your junior, be it your colleagues. But if you really are working for a great mission, that will keep you motivated and charged up always. And that is something that I picked up from Exceed, and that's very much a part of what Cracked is, in empowering the youth of our country to become more employable and be life ready for all the work that they're doing. A case study written by Harvard, IIM'B Publishing and Harvard Publishing has written a case study about us on how Cracked is making an impact in the tier 2, 3, 4 cities of our country. Skills. I mean, we have spoken about storytelling, we have spoken about elevator pitch, we have spoken about great body language, we have spoken about people management, we've not spoken so much about a lot of other skills also, but fundamental to success is something that I got into this organization also, that can we actually use these skills in order to build successful careers. And of course, hot young minds. I realized when I moved into Mumbai, when I got into SPJN, is the power of youth is something different. They are not bogged down that I'm going to fail. They want to try again and again and again. And that's what... Gagan, if you want to mute yourself, please. And that's what shows in my organization day in, day out also. I have a very small team of about 50, 55 members, but 45 of them would be at an average age of 20, 21. And that changes the way they think about things. There's always innovation, creativity that's coming into everything that they are doing. And that can become an important learning when you enter your corporate life also. Can I invest in the right people in the beginning of their careers when I move on? And thus ends my first part and gets me into my second part is, what did I learn from all of this other than the ones that I've already mentioned? I would kind of put it into a very short abbreviation so that you remember it also in terms of taking it back. We can call it PEACE, P-E-A-C-E, right? Any guesses? What does P stand for? The first learning that I had. You can write again in the chat box. What does P stand for? You can unmute and speak also. What did I learn as the most basic fundamental skill that we need? Nikhil says passion. Okay. Others, what's your guess? What does P stand for? People. I've spoken about people a lot of times already. Yes. Program. Sanjay says program. Priorities. Very important.
Personality.
Personality. Kanika says personality. Yeah, a lot of good words are. I still haven't got the word I have, but I'll maybe wait for 15 minutes. Purpose. Fantastic word, but that's not the word. Deepthi says peace. No, I can't be saying peace and then saying peace stands for peace. But yeah,
Prepare.
What, Sanjay?
Prepare yourself.
So I think Meenakshi has got it right. I in fact chose it after a lot of thought on what it should be. Patience, I think, was the one I wanted to eventually pick out of all the words, and I'll tell you why. At the end of the day, nothing gets instant success. There will be a lot of times you will fail in the corporate life. A lot of times you'll get frustrated with the kind of tasks that you're given in the corporate life. A lot of times you'll get a very bad manager. 8 out of 10 times you'll get a bad manager. That's what research says. A lot of times you'll get an irritating team member who is trying to find your mistakes only all the time or speaking about you behind your back. A lot of times you'll get unrealistic targets, and that is the truth of corporate life. And there, patience plays a very, very important part. Now, let me ask you whether you feel you're good in patience or not. Let's say you have to reach somewhere in 20 minutes, and you get your car out and you kind of get on the road, and then you realize, oh God, there's a traffic jam, and you will reach in 40 minutes. What do you feel at that time normally? What's your feeling? So Gurmeet says agitated. You can unmute also and share. Disturbed. Okay, others?
Should have planned that delay and started early.
Yeah, should have planned that early, correct? So, is Swati saying something? Okay. So, you're right. The test of patience here is, now that you're on the road, can you accept the outcome and still be cheerful? Now, if it is 40 minutes, you will at max reach in 38 minutes if you drive fast or if you take a few wrong turns. And worst case, you'll reach in 42 minutes, right? Now that it's showing 40 already. Constantly cursing yourself, your lack of planning, not being able to pull off that situation is not going to help. You have to accept the fact that it's 40 minutes now. Maybe inform the person or the organization wherever you're going that I am 20 minutes late. Apologize for it. But then forget about it and move on. It's a great example of patience. Right? For example, when I go to see a movie, I used to get frustrated if there's a crying child. For example, I've gone to see Jawan. I'm a crazy fan of Shah Rukh Khan. And then I sit beside a child who is constantly crying. Right? One thing is to completely lose it and say, yaar, please, aap kahin aur jaake baith jaiye, ya fir you change your seat, etc. But to also realize that that mother is also struggling with the child who is crying, and it's just coincidental that you have been given an opportunity to show some empathy. So patience becomes an important, and there are much bigger examples. I mean, the entire Emancipation Proclamation that helped end slavery in the United States came from insane patience that was shown by the leaders there, right? And Nelson Mandela says, I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. Right? And that's patience at the end of the day. I mean, one, and I asked you in the beginning of the session, what are you scared of? Patience as a skill gives you the power to overcome it. And every day in the corporate world, every day, right? And secure leaders are not worried about their own position. Patient leaders are not worried about their own position, right? They choose today to serve his or her team members as well as the organization. Right? Being secure helps them to highlight top performers in the team. And that comes from patience, realizing that let me do whatever is there in my control. And that will help you make unpopular decisions also, not to take your position for granted. Right? So that's the first one. What is that that I would want to leave you with? Patience. What's the second one? E. What does E stand for as per you? Let's take guesses now.
Empathy.
Empathy. Pradeep says empathy. Okay, let's have a few other guesses. There are two E's, by the way. Peace. So anyway, there are two, twice that I'll talk about E. Any other guesses on what does E stand for?
Everyone within your team.
Everyone within your team. Okay. Everyone. Emotion. Pradeep also says emotion. Any other guesses? What does possibly E stand for? We already have the right answer, so let's go there. Empathy is very, very important. Again, depending on the job that you're going to get into, see, capability I can't teach you in 1 hour, right? If you're getting into a, let's say, data analytics, very senior level job, I can't be teaching you data analytics in 1 hour. What I can tell you is what is going to help you become successful irrespective of the job that you're doing. Empathy is the biggest one in that. Showing empathy towards employees and advocating for your team and standing up for them is the one that everyone is looking for. Again, for your team doesn't mean people reporting into you only. Your team means everyone around you in an organization, right? Someone who thinks about his people before he thinks for himself are the people who grow in the corporate world. Look at any CEO, look at any CXO, look at any founder. I have got whatever success I have got in my life through empathy, if I have to pick up one thing. Though it is very obvious, sounds very obvious कि हाँ मुझे सबका ख्याल रखना है, but it doesn't happen that way, right? Strongest form of empathy, like what Mahatma Gandhi has said, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Hindu, I'm a Christian, and I'm a Jew. So are all of you. That is the ultimate statement of empathy. Correct? If you have to ask me. And there are multiple other examples, right? And therefore, a good corporate leader understands the people around them amazingly well and respects the fact that all of them have their own strengths and weaknesses. And to focus always on the strengths and ignore the weaknesses, right? I love this example and therefore I'm sharing this with you. When 1980 mein jab AIDS pehli baar phaila tha, when AIDS started, it was very frightening, right? People were losing their lives and it was a crazy disease to have. And even after doctors declared that it can't spread if you touch a AIDS patient, still people were not touching AIDS patients. They were used to get separated, and in the sense they would get quarantined as per current paraphrase, and completely shunned from the society. When this was happening, Princess Diana on the 19th of April 1987 went and met a HIV positive patient. Not only met, shook hands with the patient without wearing gloves, hugged the patient, and that went on live TV for people to actually believe in the fact that AIDS doesn't spread if you touch that person. Now, that is a perfect example of empathy. If you really think you care, you have to show it that you care so that the world also starts following. A lot of times in the corporate world, you will see one person getting sidelined because of whatever criticism happening, feedback happening, and the person feeling down over and over again. If at that time you feel the person is actually capable, can you stand up for that person in order to make sure that they become successful? Irrespective of whether everyone else is supporting that person or not. Right? And that's where empathy comes from. The next part, which is which is in pieces, accountability. Now, what is accountability? Accountability is raising your hand and saying that I did this particular thing wrong. A good leader is always accountable. It is someone being willing to own your mistakes. It's not a sign of weakness. It is to say that if you have given me some task, I am going to own it end to end. It builds respect with your team and with the upper management, right? And that is a very simple but very difficult trait to have, right? Roosevelt had said, I accept responsibility for choosing good over evil, right? The famous quote, does anyone remember? मैंने जो quote यहाँ नीचे लिखा है वो कौन सी movie का है? With greater powers comes greater responsibilities. This is my blessing, this is my curse. Which movie is this?
Batman.
Not Batman. But very close. Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Suraj is right.
Spider-Man.
Yeah. So yeah, Arun is right. So that's how the movie starts, right? When he's moving from one building to another, and he realizes that now God has given me a certain power. This is not just a blessing. This is my responsibility, and that's my curse also. And that's what every corporate person has to go through. Now, when you have finished your defense career, or in between your defense career, going to get into a corporate job, you're going to get a lot of times responsibilities where people around you will tell you, अरे छोड़ना कुछ नहीं होता, इस हफ्ते के बाद अगले हफ्ते दे देंगे, या फिर मैंने उसके साथ बहुत सालों तक काम किया है, कुछ नहीं होगा, it's fine, you can maybe do it later. But best thing that is coming with your background is discipline. The fourth part in piece is communication, right? And I'm going to open the house here for you to tell me कि communication क्यों important है. मैं आपको एक एक लाइन दिखाऊंगा, आप मुझे बताइए किसने बोला है और कब बोला है, right? This is the first line. कब बोला है तो मैंने बता दिया, किसने बोला है? Sisters and Brothers of America.
Swami Vivekanand.
Martin Luther.
Swami Vivekanand.
Yeah, Swami Vivekanand, Meenakshi is right. Right, his famous speech from Chicago from 1893, when he actually went to Chicago and spoke about how the Indian youth is fighting for independence, and how their blood boils when every time there is a wrong thing that happens on the youth of India. Now, one line, आप सोचिए मैंने आपको दिखाया, and you are able to identify कि किसने बोला है and क्यों बोला है. Let's tell the second one. Who has said this line? Delhi, 1942.
Mahatma Gandhi.
Mahatma Gandhi.
Yeah, so this is an easy one, right? Let's move to the slightly maybe tougher one. We shall fight on the beaches. London, 1940.
Winston Churchill.
Churchill, right? Yeah.
Churchill.
Great to hear that some of you remember. I Have a Dream, Washington, 1963.
Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King.
Yeah, Martin Luther King. I think the power of statements, right? I'm just telling you one statement and there is impact. You remember what it was. Give me blood and I will give you freedom.
Subhash Chandra Bose.
Subhash Chandra Bose. Subhash
Right?
Chandra Bose.
That's fantastic. And do I have one more? Yeah, no. So if you realize that how powerful communication is, right? Just one line and you are filled with passion, filled with motivation. And therefore, आप corporate world में अगर जा रहे हो तो ability to communicate is going to become your most important skill. Can you persuade others with your communication? Can you forge working relationships with your communication? Can you always voice out what you are feeling? Advocate for his department with upper management. तो अगर आपको अपने department को बड़ा बनाना है, तो are you able to advocate for yourself? Stand for yourself. Tough conversations होंगे. तब आप communicate कर पा रहे हो क्या? क्या आपको क्या बताना है? क्या सोचना है? Delivering clear instructions or feedback. Clear communication helps get the point across in good and bad times. Clarity, communication. और ये 5 लाइन जो मैंने आपको भी बताया उससे भी आपको realize या feel हुआ होगा, right? And the last one in E is empowerment. In peace, sorry, is empowerment. What does empowerment mean? Empowerment means सिर्फ आप खुद अपना काम नहीं कर रहे हो, आपके आसपास जो लोग हैं उनको भी आप empower कर रहे हो उनका काम करने के लिए. Giving your employees the tools they need to succeed and then stepping out of their way. आपने उन्हें tools दे दिया और फिर अलग हो गए कि अब आप कीजिए अपना काम. I will now help you become stronger and better. And empowerment comes in everything: relevant decision making, ongoing training, giving access to data, defining boundaries, assigning mentors. हर चीज में, राइट? आप एक पर्टिकुलर पोजीशन में घुसोगे जब आप कॉर्पोरेट में घुसोगे, आपके लेवल के नीचे हजारों लोग काम कर रहे होंगे. There will be thousands of people who are working under you. Not under you, maybe reporting to you, but below you as per hierarchy. Can you help those people get empowered? Forget people below you. Sometimes लोग आपके ऊपर जो लोग हैं वो भी लगेंगे कि ये लोग empowered enough नहीं है to take decisions. खुद आप feel कर रहे हो क्या empowered enough? अगर आपको empowerment feel नहीं हो रहा है तो अपने मैनेजर या अपने सुपर मैनेजर से बात कीजिए कि I am not able to feel empowered enough to do my job well. अगर आपने मुझे एक्स काम दिया है, उस काम को करने के लिए मेरे पास एनफ डिसीजन मेकिंग पावर नहीं है, मेरे पास एनफ रिसोर्सेज नहीं है, मेरे पास एनफ टूल्स नहीं है, एंड इवन अगर मेरे पास एनफ स्किल्स नहीं है, कैन यू हेल्प मी विद दैट? सो दैट्स पीस. If you can remember the full thing, that kind of helps. Are the top skills that I have picked up, and a lot of big organizations are doing this. And that brings me to my favorite topic, which is, if you really want to be successful, आपको ये concept तो पता होना ही होना चाहिए, which is the concept of ikigai. आप में से कितने लोग ikigai के बारे में जानते हैं already? Can you just quickly maybe raise your hand digitally या physically, ताकि मुझे दिखे कि आप जानते हो या नहीं जानते हो? I have one hand from Nikhil. Anyone else who already know about it? Gagan says he knows. Smita, Praveen, Anil, Vijesh, Pratik, yeah, quite a few people are saying that you know. But a simple concept, but let me tell you how you can practice that concept in the corporate world. Concept पहले बता देता हूँ जिन्हें नहीं पता. Ikigai talks about 4 things, right? Your life will have 4 things. If it has 4 things, then you are going to lead a happy and long life. Ikigai comes from the village of Okinawa in Japan, जहाँ पे हर इंसान 100 साल से ज्यादा जीता है. The average age of people in Okinawa in Japan is more than 100 years. In India, it's 71 years, right? इतना फर्क क्यों? 30 years का फर्क कैसे आ जा रहा है? They must be doing something different, right? तो वो that concept is called Ikigai. It says 4 चीजें होनी चाहिए हमारे लाइफ में. Always do things that you love. पहला. Always do things that you are good at. दूसरा. Always do things that the world needs. तीसरा. And always do things that you will get paid for. चौथा. So if your life, anything that you're doing, if it has the combination of these 4 things, you will lead a happy and successful life. Long life also. Happy, long and successful life. Medically proven, right? Everyone living above 100 years. अब ये तो concept है, सुन के अच्छा लग रहा है. आपको समझाते हैं कि इसको follow कैसे करते हैं. सबसे पहला, can we do things that we love? ठीक है. How will you know if there is something that you love? पता कैसे लगेगा कि अच्छा ये तो चीज मुझे पसंद है? How will you get to know?
You don't feel tired when you do it, or you don't feel getting fatigued.
Fantastic, Arun. Very good answer. Very good answer.
Brings happiness. Brings happiness.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good answer again. Anything else?
When you don't have to push yourself to do it.
You don't have to push yourself. अपने आप हो रहा है, right? You don't really need anything while doing it. Yeah.
You are looking forward
doing it. And you exhibit energy and happiness while doing work.
Exhibit energy and happiness while doing it, right? आप कुछ चीजें ऐसे बताओ जो आपको बहुत पसंद है. You love doing that. Doesn't matter profession मत सोचो. Tell me things that you just love doing. Painting. Okay, fantastic. Others? Cooking. What is your favorite dish?
Chicken biryani.
I'm hungry hearing that. Okay, others?
Workout.
Lovely. Smita, you're trying to say from a long time. Dance, lovely. I love dancing also. Okay. So see, the interesting part is कुछ लोगों ने तो वीडियो ऑफ करके बताया था. जिनका वीडियो ऑन था, you smile when you talk about the thing you love, right? It automatically comes. अलग से बुलाना नहीं पड़ता है. Right? And now I can see Arun and his chicken biryani smile also. It is natural. And that's what Ikigai's first law is. मैं कैसे सोचता हूँ इस बारे में? If there is something I can do without any expectations in return, that is normally something that I love. मुझे पैसा भी नहीं चाहिए, मुझे praise भी नहीं चाहिए, मुझे किसी और को खुश भी नहीं देखना है ये करके, बस अच्छा लग रहा है. That's the first step. Very simple, na? What you love. अब second step है कि what you are good at. ये थोड़ा धीरे धीरे complex होता जाएगा. कैसे पता लगेगा what you are good at? What you love?
Others tell you.
Others tell you. Very nice. Very nice guess. Anyone else?
If people come to you for advice on the matters.
If people come to you for advice on those matters. Very good.
Results. I can say results.
Results. Yes. Sanjay, you're right. When you're getting results. So, yeah, again, very similar, but I feel when others praise you without you asking for it is something what you, ये नहीं कि मैं तुझे एक अपना गाना भेजता हूँ, तू बता कैसा है, तो फिर अच्छा ही बोलेगा most probably. But तुमने कुछ नहीं बोला, कुछ नहीं पूछा, nothing. Still someone calls up and tells you, यार मैंने तेरा गाना देखा वहां पे, क्या बढ़िया गाया तूने, right? For गाना for example, dance another example. ये खाना बनाने के लिए, अब खाना तो बड़ा डेंजरस है ना, कैसा भी हो सामने वाला अच्छा ही बोलता है normally, right? Unless it's your husband or wife, then you're dead. But otherwise, normally. But if there are things that you're good at, automatically praise आता है. And that is the second principle of Ikigai, right? Very easy to practice. अब हमें जोड़ना इन दोनों का. What you love, what you are good at, दोनों होना चाहिए. इकिगाई में चारों चीजें होती है तब इकिगाई होता है। तीसरे पे चलते हैं, व्हाट यू कैन बी पेड फॉर। ये तो सिंपल है, बट पेड फॉर ये नहीं कि चंदा मिल गया, राइट? मतलब यू पेड फॉर एनफ सो दैट यू कैन सस्टेन। एंड लेट्स से हाइपोथेटिकली आपको महीने में कितना पैसा चाहिए खुशी खुशी जिंदगी जीने के लिए? How much money do you need in a month to happily live life? Give me any number, doesn't matter. No, I'm not judging you. I don't know about others.
2 वक्त कर रोटी मिल जाए और रात को छत मिल जाए।
तो कितना पैसा होता है संजय जी? ये
5,000
60 to 70,000 per month.
60 to 70,000. Okay, 5,000 to
150K.
150K, 1.5 lakhs a month. Okay. Anyone else?
बहुत सारा सर।
60 to 80, in between 60 to 80.
60 to 80. Suraj, what did you say?
बहुत सारा।
बहुत सारा। ये
Just kidding.
that's the answer I love the most. तो अब जो भी आपका थ्रेशोल्ड है, क्या आप अपनी इकिगाई से उतना कमा रहे हो? देखो ये इंपॉर्टेंट इसलिए है क्योंकि अगर संजय जी को चाहिए 5,000 पर वो चेस कर रहे 50,000 और उसके लिए उन्हें स्ट्रेस हो रहा है, तब प्रॉब्लम है। अगर स्मिता को 60 to 70 चाहिए पर वो कह रही है यार मेरी सैलरी 2 लाख हो ही नहीं रही है, तब प्रॉब्लम है ना। देन यू आर चेजिंग द रॉन्ग थिंग। Whatever is your threshold, can you get paid that much? उसके बाद तो सिर्फ विश और डिजायर है, जो मोस्ट प्रॉब्ली आप यूज भी नहीं करोगे, छोड़ के जाओगे। पर आप जितना यूज करोगे उतना अगर आप कमा रहे हो तो यू हैव अचीव्ड योर इकिगाई। उससे कम कमा रहे हो तो प्रॉब्लम है, राइट? देन इफ यू आर गुड एट समथिंग, इफ यू लव समथिंग पर उतना भी पैसा नहीं कमा के दे रहा है वो चीज, तब प्रॉब्लम है, तब सोचना और पड़ेगा। आई होप आई एम एबल टू मेक सेंस, राइट? The fourth thing is what the world needs, right? And for example, Dawood Ibrahim is very good at what he does, right? He loves what he does. He gets paid for what he does. But the world doesn't need it. तो इकिगाई बनते बनते रह गया। Very close to ikigai, right? Very famous, right? Again, Osama bin Laden. Ikigai बनते बनते रह गया। So can you therefore also mention what the one extreme example मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ ताकि so that you know कि आप जो काम कर रहे हो कहीं दुनिया को नुकसान तो नहीं हो रहा है। Let's say you open a factory and you say and you work in a factory and you're doing a lot of great manufacturing and you're trying to change the world, पर पता लग रहा है आसपास के 3 गांव इतने प्रदूषित हो चुके हैं, they're polluted so much that people are dying there. Now you don't need that. So therefore ikigai is a fantastic example of kind of combining all. I practice it in my life and every time I ask this same question, whatever I'm doing are the 4 things there in that, and therefore it's the combination of passion, profession, mission and vocation, right? And this is the third part actually. Ikigai was the first thing in the third part of my session, which are the theories that I was talking about. Ikigai is the first one. Second is the personal branding theory, red box theory I call it. What is red box? Red box says सब लोग कहते हैं कि मुझे successful होना है corporate में ना, मतलब I want to earn well, I want people to respect me, I don't know anything about the corporate world and therefore how can I change myself? मेरा तो काम ही है, day in day out मैं यही समझाता हूँ across age groups। तो मैं उन्हें ये सिंपल चीज बोलता हूँ कि अगर तुम्हें सक्सेसफुल होना है सबसे पहले तुम रेड बॉक्स आइडेंटिफाई करो। व्हाट इज रेड बॉक्स? रेड बॉक्स से सबसे पहले बताओ 4 थिंग्स। व्हाट आर योर वैल्यूज? सबसे अंदर आता है व्हाट आर योर वैल्यूज। यू नो व्हाट आर वैल्यूज, राइट? वैल्यूज मतलब समथिंग दैट यू स्टैंड फॉर, वन थिंग दैट यू स्टैंड फॉर। ये चीज आपकी चेंज नहीं होती है चाहे कुछ भी चेंज हो जाए, राइट? डिसिप्लिन, हार्ड वर्क, ability to kind of help others, empathy, honesty. I don't know, there are so many values that you can pick up from. So if some of you want to share, आपके values क्या है? एक दो बताइए मुझे, एक दो नहीं, एक ही बताइए जो आपको लगता है is something you stand for. Do we have something on the chat box? Meenakshi says honesty. Okay. Sincerity, Pradeep says.
Being truthful in reporting.
Being truthful in reporting. Integrity, very important. Very, very important. Meticulous. Being accurate and meticulous, very important again. Arun says
Matching-
straightforward.
Matching timeline.
Sincerity and loyalty, dedication.
Timeline. I can say timeline.
Timelines, right? The matching timeline. So that is a value. All of you have to remember. ये तो पहला है. मुझे clear होना चाहिए मेरा value क्या है, क्योंकि दूसरे मुझे वैसे ही पहचानेंगे. मैंने आपको पूछा था, याद है? What do people talk about you when you're not in the room? They're mostly talking about your values. अब अगर आप झूठ बोलते उठते बैठते तो यही बोल रहे होंगे यार ये लाया है. आप नहीं रहोगे तो. अगर आप डिसिप्लिन्ड हो तो यही बोलेंगे इज वेरी डिसिप्लिन्ड. मोस्टली दे आर टॉकिंग अबाउट योर वैल्यूज, जो आप एग्जिबिट करते हो डे इन डे आउट. वैल्यूज अगर आपको पता है तो उसके ऊपर आता है कॉम्पिटेंस. व्हाट आर यू गुड एट, मैं आपको पूछ चुका हूँ, राइट? और डू यू नो व्हाट यू आर गुड एट? सेकंड थिंग दैट दे टॉक अबाउट इज देयर इज योर कॉम्पिटेंस. So I would want to assume that people behind me would say that he's a good leader, he's a good speaker, he writes well, etc., etc., which is your competence. I don't know क्या बात करते हैं exactly, but I would want to assume. Similarly, वो आपके बारे में ये भी बात करते हैं कि आपका कॉम्पिटेंस क्या है. देखिए, लोग क्या बात कर रहे हैं वो इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है. आप कौन हो आपका जानना इंपॉर्टेंट है. Just to clarify, right? And therefore the red box theory में second आता है competence. Outward manifestation. अब for example, let's say you are a fantastic mathematician, but आप mathematics के बारे में बात ही नहीं करते दूसरों से. Mathematics के बारे में कुछ लिखते ही नहीं, post ही नहीं करते mathematics के बारे में. अच्छा, how many of you are on LinkedIn? Yes, no? Okay, a few hands raised.
All.
Yes.
All are.
All of you are on LinkedIn? All, right? Okay. So anyways, we should stay connected on LinkedIn. So if you want to search and send a request, please feel free. But why I'm also asking you to kind of check out my profile is you will see I am posting almost twice a week for the last 3 years on things that I believe in, on things that I really, really stand for. एंड क्योंकि मैं 3 साल पहले 10 साल मैंने नौकरी में कभी नहीं पोस्ट करता था, मुझे लगता था अपने आप लोगों को पता लग जाएगा, पर अब 3 साल से कर रहा हूं तो people now have started following me, started realizing who I am. I am again one very, very ordinary person, right, in the crowd, but I've decided to do some outward manifestation on things that I'm strong at. And because I have done that, I got the courage to start my own organization also. Rohan would have also reached out to me from LinkedIn only, right? He would not know me personally, for example.
Debojit, I have, in fact, sorry to interrupt you. I would just, enlighten us, what is the power of mediums like LinkedIn when you're, searching for job, connecting with people, because LinkedIn is a medium some of us are apprehensive about due to our, service restrictions, but you would know better than us since you're in the business and you connect with people on LinkedIn day in, day out. So tell us something about it, the power of this social forum called LinkedIn.
I mean, I can't ever finish enough on what it is. I would actually encourage all of you to just a second. Where is the chat gone? Yeah. So I would encourage all of you to also follow our page, which is the crack page, other than mine also. See, the power of LinkedIn is just knowing, letting the world know who you are. And उसी से काम हो जाता है. You don't need to actively look for jobs on LinkedIn to land a job on LinkedIn. The funny part is, if you are just expressive enough about your achievements, about your path in your corporate world, about how you are moving forward in the corporate journey, normally that is enough. And that is all I have done. If you, again, as I mentioned, maybe in your spare time, spend 15 minutes on my profile also. And I work very closely with Mr. Amit Jain, founder of Kardeko, who is a shark also these days. He's my primary investor also. If you see his profile also, it is just about expressing what you feel. बहुत बार LinkedIn में हमें लगता है बहुत प्रोफेशनल नेटवर्क है तो हमें सिर्फ प्रोफेशनल चीजें ही बोलनी है. ऐसा नहीं है. LinkedIn पे आप ये भी express कर सकते हो your opinion on something that is happening in the world. You can also express how, for example, right now India is playing in the Cricket World Cup, and what are your learnings in the professional world out of that. That's also teamwork, right? But KL Rahul not taking singles yesterday, we have seen the match, because Virat Kohli has to reach a century, is teamwork. That is required in the corporate world also, on and off, if you have seen the match. So each one of those are things that you can express on LinkedIn, because of which people will make positive opinions about you. That acha, this person is happily, freely expressing who he or she is. Very important part of your professional growth. I'll share my profile. So this is my profile, if you haven't been able to locate it, right? I'll go back to the last one or two things I want to share, and then maybe we can have 2 minutes of questions. Outward manifestation, third, and therefore that builds your reputation. That's the red box of reputation. रेपुटेशन से सक्सेस मिलता है ना, कि हम सक्सेसफुल है या नहीं है. मैं आपको फेमस होने नहीं कह रहा हूँ, मैं आपको रेप्यूटेड होने कह रहा हूँ. रेप्यूटेड मतलब वॉट एवर यू डू पीपल अप्रिशिएट यू फॉर इट. और उसके लिए वैल्यू स्ट्रांग होने, कॉम्पिटेंस पावरफुल होने, आउटवर्ड मैनिफेस्टेशन अच्छा होना जरूरी है, एंड देयरफॉर फ्रॉम देयर यू गेट द राइट काइंड ऑफ रेपुटेशन. And this, therefore, I like the Jack Ma theory. Many people are in different stages of your career. Depending on your particular age group right now, try and follow this. If you're in 20s to 30s, follow somebody. Make a icon, make a leader you want to become like, and try and follow that. If you're in 30s to 40s, try and work on your own to build something. And work on your own doesn't mean just a startup or an entrepreneurship, but finding out what you're good at and what you love, and then maybe trying to find career options in that. 40 to 50, just do what you're good at. I mean, उसमें बहुत ज़्यादा experimentation करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. Do what you're good at, keep exemplifying it, keep becoming better and better at it. 50 to 60 में, in your work, you cannot do individual brilliance after a point. Here, it is important to invest in young people. If you are able to constantly take your meter up and invest in young people, it helps. I would also take you through this very interesting hierarchy parameter. Before that, Rohan, how much time do I have? Can we finish at 4:15? Does that work?
Yeah, we can.
Sure.
Because there are going to be a lot of questions, that's why.
Yeah. Therefore, I asked, and also I am assuming that whatever we are discussing is making sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair. So I would take this as one of the last slides, and this is one of my favorite slides also when I talk about success in the corporate world. Normally, when you enter the corporate world, there will be a race of achievement. That's level 1. आप लोगों ने Maslow's hierarchy theory सुना होगा, right?
Yes.
Right. This is not Maslow's. This is my hierarchy theory on what I feel corporate world में success देता है. Maslow's is personal life में, ये corporate world के लिए, ठीक है? पहला achievement. 70% people are forever stuck in the achievement level. वो पूरा टाइम यही सोचते रहते हैं that I want to achieve, and because I will achieve, I will become bigger, I will get promoted, I will go to the next level in the corporate world. 70% people, all their careers are stuck in the achievement phase. It is important to go into that phase also. अगर आप achieve ही नहीं करोगे तो कोई आपको respect नहीं करेगा. तो achievement important तो है, but getting stuck in the achievement phase is the problem. The second phase that people get into is the very few people get into is the mastery phase. Mastery matlab, once you become very good at something, you start teaching that to other people. You stop saying कि मुझे करना है, मुझे करना है, मुझे करना है. You start saying कि तुम 10 लोग भी आ जाओ, मैं तुम्हें भी सिखा देता हूँ, और तुम भी शायद करने लग जाओगे. Now, normally most leaders are in the mastery phase, right? They are the best in what they do, and therefore they have gotten promoted, and therefore they're helping others in the same category to become better and better. 23% people are in the mastery phase. 70% people are in the achievement phase. 23% people are in the mastery phase, जो वो पहुंचते हैं. आखिरी phase कोई guess करना चाहेगा? This is the last phase where only 7% people reach, and इसीलिए इतने कम लोग CEOs और CXOs और founders etc. बनते हैं. What is the last phase in this? निर्वाणा में तो हिमालय चला जाएगा. मतलब ऑफिस में रहकर कौन से फेज में पहुंच सकते हैं? हाँ, identify. Not bad. It's close, but not the right answer. Any other guesses? Third phase, only 7%. Impact. Again, आप आसपास आ रहे हो, Praveen, but still not where it is. I have used this. In fact, you have used this term when I was asking a different letter.
Basically, pick up your who's going to succeed after you. Identify a person for that.
Ah, okay. You're saying whom are you going to hand over? Interesting, but not that. Yes, Kanika is right. The last one is purpose. And people, great leaders talk about mission all the time. They talk about the why all the time. If you read the book by Simon Sinek, nahi padha hai to please padhiye. Start with why. Now, Mahatma Gandhi ने हमें ये नहीं बोला था यार, we will have to walk for 20 kilometers. It is going to be very hot, and I'm going to carry my stick. You can wear chappals or not wear chappals. It is up to you, and you will not get water in between. And once we reach, we'll try and make salt. ये बोलते तो कोई नहीं आता ना. What he actually said was, we want to make our country free from the clutches of the British Empire. And for that, we want to build an example in front of everyone that we will follow non-violence, but still win their hearts to say that they should give the country back to us. And for that, I have started this movement where we are going to reach somewhere and eventually tell them that we can make our own sword. We don't need yours. Very different, दो अलग चीजें हो जाती. Good leaders always speak about the why. When in most successful organizations that I've worked, when I meet their CEOs or founders, they say that we want to impact 1 million people. We want to identify this need and eliminate that need. These people speak why, and automatically how or what nikal ke aa jata hai. Bad managers speak about how and what all the time. That is spoon feeding. How or what to सामने वाला निकाल लेगा ना, why अगर पता है तो. And therefore, 7% people reach the purpose stage in their lives. And these are the people who eventually end up being successful. ये आसान नहीं होता है, मतलब आप achievement से mastery में चले जाओ. And इसीलिए मेरा एक गुरु मंत्र है in order to kind of reach from achievement to mastery, which is having hobbies. Hobbies होता है ना, तो hobbies practice करके ही आप अपना achievement hunger को मार देते हो. अब अगर आपको डांस पसंद है, सुबह उठ कर आप 1 घंटा डांस कर लो, फिर ऑफिस में रिलैक्स रहोगे. ये नहीं होगा कि आज इसे अचीव करना ही है, इसका खून पीना ही है. Right? You will be relaxed because you will know you have already achieved something today. And therefore, I'll give you great examples. इन लोगों को आप जानते भी होगे. You know this person on your screen? If you see Hollywood movies, you would definitely know. Right? She's Angelina
Jolie.
Yeah, she very famous in Hollywood, and her hobby is to keep daggers, चाकू. ये फोटो उसी चीज की है. And she loves keeping different kinds of daggers. You know this guy?
Tom Hanks.
Right. His hobby is to keep typewriters. Imagine, and he just collects old typewriters for himself. Who is this?
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp, right? He got famous in his famous divorce case that happened recently, and fantastic actor. I just love his acting. But his hobby is to keep dolls. Various kinds of dolls. Spooky. Who is this? This is the most famous.
Albert Einstein.
Right, and if his hobby was to play the violin. Now, when his own I don't remember, dog or cat had burnt half of his life's work, and ये बाहर गए थे एक वॉक के लिए, बाहर वापस आके देखा कि his pet had आधा कमरा जला दिया है उन्होंने अपनी पूरी जिंदगी में जो बनाया था. He actually picked up the pet in his own hands and said that I felt that the most scared person in that room was my pet, not me, not those papers, because after burning half of the room, and he went and played the violin after that. That's overcoming achievement hunger. Einstein ना आधा जो बच गया उसी से कितना कुछ अचीव कर लिया हमें पता है. जो जल गया वो भी मिल जाता तो क्या होता, you would realize. And these are real stories, right, of people, of great people who have done great things, and thus not constantly trying to prove someone else कि मैंने ये कर दिया, तुम ताली बजाओ मेरे लिए, or I want to kind of win in life. So I'll stop here on all the things that I have felt in my career is going to make a lot of difference. we have 7 to 10 minutes for questions that you would want to ask. I am done from my side on the presentation.
Debojit, before that, we'll just click a quick photograph of the session. I would request everyone to please switch on their camera so that I can click photograph. Yes. Few of you are left. Few are left. Okay. Smile, please. Thank you. Yeah, now we can go ahead with questions. Ladies and gentlemen, you can ask him questions. He is going to hire a lot of people from our batch, I'm sure.
Of course, I look forward to. I don't know whether I am capable enough to hire a lot, but yeah, definitely a few is something that we can look at. But please feel free to ask questions. Ours is a unicorn company, by the way. There are close to 8,000 people that work overall in the group. And mine is comparatively much smaller, but is expanding quite fast. Nikhil, I think, has a question. Go ahead, Nikhil.
Hi, Debojit. I have a question. The Ikigai thing which you said regarding passion, what I want and what do people want. What if it's in a field wherein you're not getting paid for in India, but the expertise lies outside? You go for it. You chase it.
100%. इसमें तो कोई doubt ही नहीं है ना. Your Ikigai is your Ikigai. It's unique to anyone else. And if you feel that it's that's where the opportunity lies, there's no second thought.
Okay. I'll ask a question, Debojit. When initially we were talking about skills, some of the skills that you mentioned about. Now I would say that in your career you must have seen a lot of defense personnel who have transitioned from defense to corporate world. Okay, in your view, where do they lack, and where do they excel also? I mean, both ways, lacking and excelling. And what are the skills you find, those are missing skills that you guys think that, this guy should actually know this, whether we talk about a guy coming to you after 14, 15 years of service or 20 years of service. Okay. So what do you think about it?
Yeah. So I'll start with the positives. I think people whom I have worked with who have come from a very similar background are very strong on personal ethics. And that is something that goes lacking in 80% of the corporate world. I would strongly advise you to maintain your strengths when you are entering the corporate world and not try to mold yourself too much so that you lose yourself and lose the strengths that you're carrying. Along with that, there's a very strong part that comes from submitting the tasks on time, which can be attributed to a certain amount of discipline. Normally, people are very detail oriented that I've worked with from a very similar background. So the important tasks are normally given to them, important roles, important responsibilities as compared to others. What they would lack are 2-3 things. One is ability to express, communicate freely about what they're struggling with. It's not that you have to keep talking all the time. It's about if you are getting stuck, diplomatically putting it in the right manner so that people hear you and give you solutions. Now, even if someone is expressing, they're just too straightforward, which hurts the let's say the highly blown ego of some leaders in the company, because it's coming right on the face that this is something that you're lacking. So one thing that I would urge the group to kind of practice a little bit is to kind of sugarcoat a little bit when you are putting forward your opinion. I'm giving very fast, honest opinion on the people that I've worked with from similar background. Second thing that I think they would lack is coming forward with highly data centric approach to their opinions. Now, some of you might be good at it, and therefore it's not a judgment on this batch, but people I have worked with. But which means is in a corporate, now if you say that okay, our brand is not doing well because I think the consumers are not picking up our product enough, because I think we are not visible, and also I think there's some negative opinion about the products, it's all very generic. What actually the leader wants to hear is our brand has gone down by 3% on his brand entity because there is a 41% drop in Chennai, Rajasthan, and Jammu in the uptake of our products, and there is a but there is a good news in 46% cities of our country, and because of which I think the three things that needs to be done is get an agency to manage our brand, get some strong events to do in the third week of this month, because that's when the maximum footfalls will come in. So if you see the difference between the two ways of talking, one person is speaking emotions, the other person is speaking data, saying the same thing. So that is something I would encourage all of you to practice more and more in the way you're looking at your own work. Third thing that I feel is don't enter the corporate world thinking कि gap था या gap आया है, right? The funny thing is everyone is as secure or as insecure as you are. एंड अगर आप उस एजम्पशन के साथ जाओगे तो ऑटोमेटिकली सामने वाला भी थोड़े दिन के बाद बोलने लगेगा कि अरे दिस पर्सन, ये तो पूरा दिन यही सोचता रहता है कि अरे मेरा तो 10 साल गैप था, 20 साल गैप था, या आई हैव कम आफ्टर रिटायरमेंट फ्रॉम डिफेंस एटसेट्रा, राइट? जस्ट गो इन विद द assumption that it's a fresh plate. उनके लिए भी फ्रेश है, आपके लिए भी फ्रेश है, and you kind of start there. So yeah, if you ask me, Rohan, these are some things, positives and some areas of improvement, I feel.
I'm sure you have a question.
Yes, sir. Hi, Debojit. Good evening. So I just had one question. What are the challenges you have felt with, instilling ownership in the teams, and how have you dealt with it?
See, I was a corporate employee 2 years back, and in Gardeco itself. Now that I have my own company, I actually know what ownership means. Before, अभी तो मुझे लगता है is to fake ownership. Ownership is very difficult to instill. Complete ownership. What you can actually instill is complete understanding of the work that has been given to the person, and empower that person with all the tools they need to do that work. Ownership तो बाकी मतलब थोड़ा ख्याली पुलाव type term actually. It comes on things like cheering for India, right? For in anything, and all of you are coming from that background, so you know what I mean. वहां पे अपने आप थोड़ा ओनरशिप आता है. दैट्स व्हाई पर्पस मिशन की मैं बार बार बात कर रहा था, उन चीजों से थोड़ा ओनरशिप आता है. बट हैविंग ओनरशिप फॉर फिनिशिंग योर टास्क और रेस्पेक्टिंग समवन, जबरदस्ती का वो अंदर से आना बहुत मुश्किल है, unless something has really happened that has changed you from inside. So I think I've spent more time in clear communication, in giving fantastic tools for people to work on, in great reports that come out from the work that they're doing. तो मुझे पता है किसने 6 घंटे 20 मिनट काम किया, किसने 8 घंटे 10 मिनट काम किया, किसने 3 घंटे 50 मिनट काम किया, फॉर एग्जाम्पल. तो उसमें ओनरशिप नॉन ओनरशिप कुछ है ही नहीं ना, नंबर दिख रहा है और उनको भी दिख रहा है. And that's what I think I would normally focus on. And वो सब वो पार कर जाते हैं, certain amount of threshold in trust, तब emotions आना शुरू होता है. Then you start depending, trusting, giving work that maybe you would have not normally given because you trust more. But that takes time.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, I'll ask Arun. You have a question? Arun, you have a question?
No. I just forgot to unmute the mic.
Debojit, one more thing I would ask. See, we all come from defense background, so our networking is within the defense. Now, when we are changing over to a different world altogether, and networking is a very important part of it. LinkedIn is one medium. Yes, we all know we can do our networking and all. Now, what are the other ways that when we have to, connect with people, go and meet them and all those things, because without networking, I think things move very slow. So what we can do to, leverage our networking?
Yeah, very good question. I think I should have included in my slide also networking. See, networking is about depth. It's not about spread. ये myth है कि spread बहुत सारे लोगों को तुम्हें पहचानना चाहिए. 10 अच्छे लोगों को पहचानोगे तो you earn 10x than your capability in your life. But depth का क्या मतलब है? जैसे for example, you get to know someone, let's say, who is relatively well connected in the industry. Can you really help that person in what they are doing a little bit? So automatically the person gets attracted towards you, right? If you ask for a favor, that person might do a favor but will forget you after a point. But if you have done that person a favor, then they are going to help. And don't judge that person saying कि मैं इसका क्या favor कर दूं, तो इतना ऊपर कुछ कर रहा है. Every person needs help. In fact, people at the top need more help than people at the bottom, because they're constantly trying to upgrade themselves, explore, expand their skills, etc. So whomever you know, first make sure that you know them so well that they respect you back. They care for you. They remember you. They know I can depend on this person. तो पहला रूल ऑफ नेटवर्किंग तो डेप्थ है. अब अगर स्प्रेड बढ़ाना है, स्प्रेड अगर बहुत कम है, अगर स्प्रेड बढ़ाना है, देन not only professional gatherings but personal gatherings से भी network निकलता है. A lot of times we underestimate our families and extended families. बहुत हीरे छिपे होते हैं families में भी जो हम explore नहीं करते. किसी चाचा की बेटी का किसी के साथ शादी हुआ, हमें पता भी नहीं होगा वो किस प्रोफेशन में. एंड घुमा फिरा के तुम जब उसके पास पहुंचे बोले अरे this is the person and this person could have solved so many problems for me in my life. So first, don't ignore family and extended families. Because it's easier to reach out to them and just understand from them what they're doing in their life. Ask questions, kya kar rahe ho? Ask professional questions to people. जो in-laws में mainly, not only your in-laws but multiple in-laws of related people in your family, क्योंकि वो नए लोग आते हैं, right? One. Second, try and get into networking events. There are a lot of networking forums or gatherings that are there. Things like BNI. There are multiple such forums that are there जहाँ पे you can get yourself added and then you can attend their meetings. That happens every quarter, every 6 months, every year. कुछ नहीं करना होता. There's a fees of every meeting का शायद 300, 400, 500, 700 रुपए का fees है. Wherever you are located, irrespective of the city, उस शहर में कुछ ना कुछ हो रहा होगा. So you can get into those and attend those events and meetings. And third is wherever you have come from till now. That means ki school, फिर college, फिर defense, फिर now you're in IIM Bangalore. I asked, I think, someone a question that do you know your batch well? सबसे बड़ा नेटवर्क तो बैच में ही बैठा हुआ है. मतलब अगेन उनका नेटवर्क और उनसे उनका नेटवर्क एटसेट्रा, राइट? But being genuine sometimes is enough to have a great network. I think if I want to answer that question in one line, even if you meet 20 powerful people, if you were honest and genuine and if you found a reason to help them, they will help you back.
Okay. Somebody has got a question. Somebody raised a hand. Yeah, Ananya.
Yes, it's me. Hello, Debojit. First of all, thank you so much for such good insights. I just have one question. I want to know some of your challenges that you faced during your entrepreneurial journey and how you overcame it. You can just pick up 2 of it, which you feel is, a lesson learned from it.
There's no end. I mean,
I know that. That's why I said I think you can pick up something that you truly feel, might help others.
Yeah. It's just challenges and challenges and challenges. This session was starting at 2:45. 2:43, I felt like killing myself on a deal that I lost. But then I came with a smiling face on the session to take this. I think 2 things that in terms of the challenges. One is understanding the market so well that you're not getting fooled by it multiple times. What is understanding the market? See, businesses should be built on insights, not on your own perception of what the market is. And insights come from real customers. And as an entrepreneur, the biggest problem that we end up having is we don't understand the market that well, and we are in the market with a product and we are trying to sell it, and then we put pressure on our own people ki big kyun nahi raha hai, and why are you not able to kind of pull it off. So that's the first challenge all entrepreneurs have to overcome. The second challenge, Ananya, would be and continues to be is people. And and sometimes your own customers and your own employees are more important than the rest of the world whom you want to brand about. I mean, whom you want to spread the brand to. Because if, as I mentioned, if I have 55 people and I would have had 3,000 customers in the last 1 year, this 3,500 folks, what are they saying about Cracked is going to decide agla 10 saal kaisa hone wala hai. And rather than focusing on 1 million people who don't know me yet, why not focus on the 3,500 people who know me, have experienced me, and want to say something good about the brand? So market and internal people are the two biggest challenges that an entrepreneur has in their journey, is what I feel.
Thank you so much.
Meenakshi, Livewire, you want to ask?
No, actually, I'd put the question in the chat box, but I'll just read it out for you again. Basically, you might have been hiring people for your firm, and obviously with the corporate experience. What is that one trait, or what are those traits that differentiates between various candidates? Because as I see, we call it as clone culture, where everybody comes with the same set of certifications, same set of experiences, same set of educational background, and same set of answers to the questions which have already been tutored on various forums. So what are those kind of traits that differentiate you from the same set of people? That's the
Yeah,
question.
for me, it's very simple, Meenakshi. I just check whether the person is aligned with my mission or not. My mission is to upskill the youth of India to give them a better future. That's the only thing I check. उसके बाद obviously वो उसने tech line में apply किया तो tech आता होगा, operations में apply किया तो operations आता होगा, finance में apply किया तो finance आता होगा. I check that also, but वो basic check होता है. Main check होता है, does the person fit into my culture or not? For me. But in the corporate world overall, there are 2-3 basic checks that happen for sure. One is communication, and communication I don't mean only speaking. I mean LSRW, listening, speaking, reading, writing. सुनने में बहुत basic लगता है, पर यही check होता है most of the time. Is this person comfortable with LSRW? The second thing that people check is depth in the subject knowledge. Whatever you have applied for, do you know some good amount of good depth in whatever you have particular thing that you want to do the job for? And the last thing that gets checked is personality, fitment, soft skills, things like body language, tonality, things like negotiation skills, storytelling skills, वो सारा skills आ जाता है. So mostly these things gets checked by people around. मैं तो एक ही चीज check करता हूँ, culture fit.
Thank you.
Rajat.
Yeah, hi Debojit. I'm Rajat. I have two quick questions. I want to talk about some topic which you haven't discussed till now. Like you worked in both the Hindustan Times and you're part of a startup also. How would you compare working with a settled company, a old settled company, vis-a-vis a startup? What is the difference in the work culture? And second is, what difference does a top tier MBA college, flagship course for one of these colleges, what difference does it make?
Both very relevant questions. I think the difference between a startup and an established company is your own personality type. Some people are very comfortable in a safe environment where comparatively job security is higher, and you want to kind of grow slowly but keep learning a little bit every time, every month, every year, and therefore keep growing. Established culture is more suited to that personality type. Startups are very, very volatile in nature, but it's a lot of adrenaline rush also. And therefore, if you like adventure, if you like failing but coming back again, if you like being recognized for the work that you're doing, then startups kind of are the right place. But it's very unstable. I mean, if you want a peaceful night's sleep, and that night's sleep is coming from the stability of your job, then startup is not the right place. But if that night's sleep is coming from, let's say, pursuing your ikigai in a mad environment, then startups is the right place. To answer your first question, the second question is, can you remind the second question? Acha,
What difference does a flagship course from one of the top tier colleges?
it makes a big difference to start with, and when you get into the particular profile, you will of course, like Rohan was mentioning, the many companies will be happy to take you in the beginning from a flagship course. If you keep exhibiting the traits of a flagship institution, then it keeps happening you through helping you throughout your career, right? And what are traits of a flagship institution? Traits are lot of hard work. Traits are raising your hand when a new task comes along. Traits are fearlessness, because you feel secure about your degree so much that you don't care so much कि मेरा तो हो, मतलब you're not working out of fear. Traits like exceptional quality of delivery, that whatever you do is much better than everyone else. ये ट्रेड्स आप मेंटेन करोगे तो लोगों को याद भी रहेगा दिस पर्सन इज फ्रॉम IIM बैंगलोर. आप इनमें से कोई ट्रेड ड्रॉप करोगे तो आफ्टर पीरियड ऑफ टाइम दैट एडवांटेज ऑफ कमिंग फ्रॉम अ फ्लैगशिप कोर्स गोज अवे. इन एनी केस 5 से 7 साल बाद वो एडवांटेज चला जाता है, देन इट्स अबाउट हु यू आर. बट स्टार्ट अच्छा मिल जाता है एंड मेंटेन करोगे तो 5-7 साल वो स्टार्ट चल भी जाता है.
Okay. Any other question? I think Debojit, there are no other questions. So we can, end the session. And I would like to thank you for this lovely session and what you have shared with us, your experiences and your presentation, and the questions which were asked beautifully answered by you. We look forward to a great association with you in future also. And, this batch is all open for placement. And if you feel that, you can hire or any of your colleagues who have a similar startups. In fact, I'm openly telling you this in front of anyone. You are associated with Car Dekho also. So, everybody is open to it. And if you feel so, we are always connected, and, we can always speak about it in future.
Perfect, Ron. You don't have to worry. In fact, we can conduct a professional drive in order to check depending on which candidates are interested, and we'll come with the profiles that we have in hand. I'll represent the group only, the entire group. When I am hiring, it's not only about Crack, which is my organization. If I come to hire, it will be for the full group together.
Yeah. And I hope we stay connected in future also. And please let me know if we can do anything for you. If you're doing something for us, if we can do anything for you, we are, happy to do it. We all are going to be soon out of defense forces, and we'll be in corporate sector. And, the association that we have built today will continue in future also. And anything, we are on the forum, LinkedIn forum and other forum, we are connected. Whatever we can do for each other, it'll be a happy situation for both.
Thank you so much, Rohan. Thank you everyone for fantastic participation also. I love the comments that are also coming on the group. Look forward to staying in touch. As I mentioned, depth of networking. If we can stay in touch 6 months later, more as friends rather than people who met on a call, that would be the success of the session.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Debojit.
Thank you.